Hello there, this is me, Dory Kaiser93, and this is a Pretty Rhythm Rainbow Live Episode 2 review. So, basically, this episode was, I'm not going to say better than the first, but it was more interesting, because the first episode was more introductions, but we get more introductions in this episode, but it's a bit toned down, if you know what I mean. But let's get into the episode itself. So, episode starts off with Naru with reviewing the first episode, like what happened in the first episode, and then she wakes up, wonders if it were a dream, wonders if it was all a dream, but Loveline comes out and she says no, it wasn't. Then we get the scene with her, and she goes down to her father and wonders, oh yeah, where'd you put that white guitar? The father says, check your room. She finds it, tries to strum the guitar, thinking that if she can strum the guitar like she did before, that she can perform a Prism Live right in her room, but doesn't work out. So then we see the girl that was skating in the school before arguing with her father about the work experience. An says that the girl, whatever, I'm just going to say An. An then says that I'm going to become a patissier and runs out to school. After that, An's sitting on the bench outside of the rink and wonders what her work experience should be, but then we see the scene inside the school. Naru is then talking to her friends about, oh yeah, I became the manager of Prismstone, and then Ito comes in. Naru then says good morning to her again. Ito, because she was there when Naru performed the Prism Live, asks her, are you good with the guitar? Naru says, not really. I'm not really that good with it. But then Ito drops two things, a handkerchief and what looks to be a prism stone. Naru picks up both, says Ito grabs the handkerchief and the prism stone or the thing that looks like a prism stone from Naru, and runs out of the class. Naru is then disappointed that she thinks that she made Ito mad again. And then we hear that song from the boy again, who's strumming the guitar and singing. And Naru says it makes her happy. But it doesn't skip to Naru's house again. This time it goes inside of the building with at the side of the building that we saw, the one that has the star thing in front of it, and Ito's inside of there. Ito hears the song, goes out to the roof, listens to it, and wonders if it's Naru. Then we shift to An, and An is cooking food. She's cooking like rice cakes. She's flipping them very easily, which is weird. I don't think it's weird, but wow, I had no idea. But then she wonders, oh yeah, I really want to open up a sweet shop. An's mother comes home, but then An says, all right, then I'm gonna go out, okay? And then she says she's gonna go eat sweets. But while she's walking away, what happens is an egg appears, is following her, and then pops open. It was the blue bird that appears from it is about to follow her, but gets hungry and gets stuck in the tray. Then later on, we see Naru, and Naru's walking to the Prismstone store, saying, "Oh yay! Today is the day I become a manager." And while she does that, Beru, Wakana, and Otaha look at her, but they walk away. After that, Naru goes into the store, and then the woman from before, after Naru enters the store, the woman from before calls her over and says that a manager has a lot of responsibilities. They have to produce shows and produce Prism Stars, and also that a thing that needs to be done in the store is that they need to create a cafe a cafe corner, like for sweets and stuff, so they can eat, so everyone can eat, the customers can eat. Naru says that's a good idea, but the woman then says, yeah, you're going to have to make them yourself. You're going to have to decide on the sweets yourself. Naru's like, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what to do about that. But then the woman then says, oh yeah, what about the girl that was in the Prism show before, the one that can perform 4 Prism drums? Naru's like, I don't know who that is. Who is that? But the woman then says, oh, it was just magic and illusion, and then walks away. Naru is then sitting with the Prism DJ. We don't know his name at this point, And she's thinking to herself, no, she's then looking and is like, oh, what sweets should I choose? But then the man says, oh, how about you go look for yourself? And then they look at the tablet, and it's like, oh, sweets biking. And Naru heads there on her own. And she gets there, and she's thinking about, what sweets should I get? Or what sweets should I think about? She picks up chocolate cake, and then she's like, oh, maybe cheesecake's good as well. But then On come in and says it's wrong. And what is it? Naru then notices, oh yeah, you're in the same class as me. And then On says her name, Fukuhara An. It's nice to meet you, Ayase Naru-san. And then goes on to help her with the sweets and deciding on what sweets to get. And then On just decides to keep picking her own sweets after she picks the I believe it's the chiffon cake. After that, she just keeps putting it on the plate and then starts eating. Then Naru asks about, oh yeah, your sweets, right? You're interested in sweets? She's like, and then An's like, yeah, I just want to become a patissier. And then they get into a conversation where An explains that her family runs a rice cake shop, and that her father always gets mad at her about her dream about becoming a patissier. After that, Naru's like, oh yeah, if it's and then An's wondering about her work experience, like about, oh yeah, it would be nice if I wonder how far my love of sweets can take me. Naru's like, oh yeah, if it's about sweets, but then An says that she has to go and gives Naru a bag of cookies, homemade cookies, and then goes away. Then we see An walking home. She's like, oh yay, those sweets were delicious. But after that, when she's walking home, the bird that fell in the tree before falls down, and then An catches it and then says, oh yeah, it's a blue bird of happiness. After that, An goes home and she feeds the cookies inside of her bag. And what happens is when An gets home, she opens up the bag and the bluebird's just eating the cookies. She's like, oh yeah, you must have been hungry, huh? And that, oh yeah, it's a new recipe I've been working on. And then she asks its name. It says Popping, so its name is Popun, or Popping. I don't know how to pronounce it. But after that, An then goes into her kitchen and cooks sweets. Her mother says, if you're cooking sweets in there, you know your father's going to get angry at you. You know? All right? And then An's like, whatever. But then her father comes home and says, oh yeah, you must be making sweets again, huh? After An feeds the cookies to Popping again. Like, he notices that she's been making sweets again, and then just says to get the smell out of there. An says there's nothing I can do about it. I just cook the things. I can't get the smell out. And then what happens is An confesses that she made the cookies for Poppin. But then her father and mother are like, what's that? And then An's father says, just get it out of here. I'll throw it outside myself. But An says, no, I'm not going to. But then An's father intimidates her, and then Poppin gets scared and runs away. An then runs after Poppin, and miraculously, what happens is An goes into the prism store, because Poppin enters the prism store, and she goes in. And An's wondering what's wrong with Poppin, but what happens is Poppin was only looking for Loveline. And they meet each other. An's like, oh yeah, you're looking for your friend, huh? But then she sees Naru in a crisis about how she can't cook the sweets alone. And then An says, oh yeah, just leave the sweets to me. And then An takes care of the sweets, but for the last portion of the decorating, Naru takes care of. And they're like, they're done. Like, it's done. And then the woman and the Prism DJ come in again, and they wonder, oh yeah, to Naru, oh yeah, are the sweets done yet? And she's like, and Naru's like, yes, they are. But I wasn't the one that made them. Fukuhara An-san did. And she's like, An's like, nice to meet you. And then what happens is Naru wonders, oh yeah, is she gonna be like my sweets man, like my sweets maker? But the woman's like, oh yeah, that depends on the taste testing. So the woman and the Prism DJ taste the cake, and the woman's like, you pass. Like, your sweets pass. And then they're like, all right. And then Nara's like, oh yeah, can she be my sweets maker now? But then she says, oh yeah. The woman says, if you can't do a Prism show, then then you can't work here. And then An's like, don't worry about that. I'm the president of the Prism Club at my school. And then what happens is the woman says, oh yeah, Kun, go get it ready. And then he's like, all right. So the Prism DJ's name is Kun. After that, Naru and An go backstage with Kun, and Kun then gives An her Prism memory pass and her Prism Live headphones, and then says, do you know what the Prism says? An says she knows a little, but she says she doesn't have Prism stones, just like Naru in the first episode. But Naru says, oh yeah, you have a fantastic stone right there. And then Papoon transforms into a blue stone. Then An puts on her headphones, puts the memory pass in, puts her headphones on, puts the memory pass in, goes in the Prism world, then puts on her outfit, and then dance begins. Same song as the first episode, but what happens in the dance is she does a Prism Live. And she does Prism Live. So it's a regular dance like the one before, but this time she does one jump. She does, I believe it's Pop Splash. Yeah, she does Pop Splash, and then after that, she does a Prism Live, and she does spinning pan rhythm. But during the Prism show, Naru's all happy about it. The woman says Momo for some reason. I don't know why. She just says Momo. Naru even takes note of it. She's like, Momo? And the woman's like, oh. But after that, after the Prism show is over, we see a girl in blue hair standing in the middle of Naru and the woman. And Naru's like, who are you? Then she says her name is Rine. And then after that, the woman goes behind Rine and says, oh yeah, you passed Fukuhara on. And after that, we see An receive her Prism trunk and her Smart Pod shot. After that, An's like, oh yeah, that's right, I can't take Papoon home because of what happened with my father before. But the woman's like, oh, don't worry about that. You don't know the storage feature that you can store your Prism, I don't know their names, but you can store your charms inside of the phone. And what happens is Papoon goes on the phone and it's like, oh. And then An's like, oh yeah, now I can take you home. And then after that, the Naru says, oh yeah, I found my sweets maker, and that's the end of the episode. So again, this has been a bit longer, but I just wanted to get like all the small details in. I don't understand why, but I'll try and keep my review shorter next time. But again, this has been a Pretty Rhythm Rainbow Live Episode 2 review. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys later.